Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're tackling something I think a lot of us struggle with. Why is saving money just so hard? Even when we know how, right? It feels like there's this, I don't know, mental block.
It really does. And what the sources we looked at suggest is that it's actually less about knowing the numbers or like budgeting techniques.
Right.
It's much more about our psychology, our emotional connection to money, these sort of ingrained responses we have.
Okay, so the mind games we play with ourselves.
Exactly. We'll explore some of those today. And maybe more importantly, look at some ways you can kind of work with your psychology, not against it. Our brains, well, they're wired for right now for survival,
Yeah.
maybe not so much for, long-term wealth building.
Okay, let's get right into it then. One big idea is that saving, it actually feels like a loss in our brains. How does that work?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? So
Yeah.
spending money, especially on something you want, often gives you this little hit of dopamine. Feels good, right?
Wow.
Instantly.
The immediate reward.
Exactly. But saving, there's no immediate chemical buzz. It's all delayed gratification. And our brains, they aren't always built for that. It can genuinely feel like you're depriving yourself now for some uncertain future thing.
Which makes it feel like a negative, like you're losing out right now.
Precisely. So a key takeaway here is you've got to actively reframe it. You need to tell yourself a different story about what saving actually is.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we make that mental flip?
Well, the sources suggest trying this shift in perspective. Instead of, I'm saving money, like I'm buying freedom. Or maybe I'm buying future choices. I'm buying peace of mind.
Ah, okay, so you're not losing the money, you're using it to purchase something else valuable just later?
You got it. You're investing in your future self in time,
Yeah.
options, security. That mental shift can be incredibly powerful. It changes the emotional charge of saving.
I like that. Focusing on the gain, not the perceived loss. Okay, let's move to another, maybe slightly sneakier one. Lifestyle creep. What exactly is that?
Right, lifestyle creep. It's basically when your spending just sort of naturally rises along with your income. You get a raise, maybe a bonus.
And suddenly that daily fancy coffee or the bigger subscription package feels normal, feels like a need almost.
Exactly. Wants become needs. And psychologically, we hate downgrading. Once we get used to a certain level of comfort or convenience, it feels really uncomfortable, almost painful to go back. Our baseline just keeps shifting up.
Which means the extra money from the raise just gets absorbed, doesn't actually boost savings much.
Often, yes. It prevents savings from growing proportionally with income.
So what's the counter move? How do we stop that creep?
This requires being a bit proactive. A really effective strategy mentioned is to basically pretend the raise didn't happen, or at least act like it.
How so?
The minute you know that extra money is coming, set up an automatic transfer right away. Send that difference straight to your savings or investment account before it even hits your main checking account, before you get used to seeing it or spending it.
Build wealth in the shadows, kind of.
Yeah, sort of. Keep it out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Let your lifestyle stay relatively stable while your savings get the boost.
Smart. Okay, another interesting point was about how we spend, the whole cash versus digital
Oh
thing.
yeah, this is crucial. It's about the pain of paying. When you physically hand over cash, you feel it leaving. It's tangible. There's a friction there, a little sting sometimes.
Makes sense.
But when you tap a card or click online, that friction is way lower. It's abstract, it doesn't feel quite as real, so it's easier to spend more, maybe without even fully registering it.
So the less real it feels, the easier the money flows out.
Pretty much. The digital world makes spending almost frictionless.
So what's the practical application here? Go back to cash entirely.
Maybe not forever.
Yeah.
But one source suggested trying a little experiment. Do a cash-only week, or even just a weekend,
Ooh, interesting.
just to physically handle the money again. It forces you to be more mindful, to really see where it's going. It can be a real eye-opener for your spending habits.
I can see that being slightly uncomfortable, but definitely insightful. Okay, lastly, let's talk identity. How we see ourselves affect our saving?
This is huge, actually. If you walk around thinking, oh, I'm just bad with money, guess what?
You'll probably act in ways that prove yourself right.
Exactly. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your actions tend to line up with your core beliefs about yourself. If you believe you're bad with money, you might subconsciously sabotage your own saving efforts.
So what's the alternative?
The sources really encourage consciously choosing and adopting a new financial identity, even if it feels a bit fake at first. Start thinking of yourself as, say, a saver, or a smart financial strategist, or a silent investor.
Like fake it till you make it, but for your financial identity.
Kind of, yeah. The idea is if you
Mhm.
start identifying as a saver, you'll start asking yourself, what would a saver do in this situation? And gradually your actions start to align with that identity. It becomes less about willpower or forcing yourself.
And more about just being who you are, or who you're deciding to be.
Precisely. It reframes saving as an act of identity, not just discipline.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it really feels like the main battle isn't always about finding the perfect budget spreadsheet. It's more internal, isn't it? It's about these psychological hurdles, our framing, our identity.
That's the core message from the sources. Absolutely. The biggest obstacles are often in our own heads, our beliefs, and these automatic responses.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Instead of just looking at your bank balance this week, perhaps take a moment to think about your beliefs about money. What's the story you tell yourself about your relationship with saving?
Yeah, what financial identity are you carrying around, maybe without even realizing it? Remember, your brain is your most powerful financial tool. Are you using it consciously to build the future you want?